Hi, my name is Gabriel, and in this video we are going to talk about learning disabilities. So before we start, we're going to study the history of this. Well, the history of special education has various parts. One of them is that first advocacy groups to fight for quality special education were made up of parents whose children were marginalized as far back as 1933. The majority of these family associations began making waves in 1950 when their loving encouraged the passage of laws that provide training for teachers who work with deaf, hard of hearing, or intellectually disabled students. And in 1960, multiple laws were passed granting funds for special education students. Special educators, special education, as its name suggests, is a specialized branch of education. And special educators teach those students who have physical, cognitive, language, learning, sensory, or emotional abilities that deviate from those of the general population. Special educators provide instructions specifically tailored to meet individualized needs, making education available to students who otherwise will have limited access to education. And for that, we have to follow some important underlying principles such as all children should provide a quality public education that promotes academic success. Each child's education should be tailored to meet his or her unique needs. Parental involvement is critical to providing appropriate education to children with and without disabilities. All educational personnel, including administrators, principals, teachers, and related personnel, must be qualified to educate students with disabilities. Assistive technology training for all personnel is key to academic success. All schools must provide effective research-based reading instruction to all students, including children with disabilities. Knowing that, we can say that engagement is a key to success when you're going to develop a lesson, because learning is not a place, it's a relationship between the teacher and the student. Nothing drives engagement more than a positive relationship, since a positive rapport with a kid is an essential ingredient for motivation and effort. And we cannot expect that the kids can learn without being connected. And we when talking about learning disabilities are not mental retardation, nor are they the result of a poor academic background, emotional disturbance, lack of motivation, or visual or auditory acuity problems. A person with a learning disability may have average or above average intelligence. In fact, Albert Einstein, Winston Churchill, Rockefeller, and Thomas Edison, Walt Disney are all thought to have had learning disabilities. Okay, for this last part of the video, I will put three types of clothes that will represent the three cases that I will mention and about learning disabilities. Knowing that, for this case, as I mentioned, I will present three learning disabilities and what strategies we can implement during a class about these three kinds of learning disabilities. So the first one says, the strategies to help students compensate for reading disability. Well, as student with a reading disability may have difficulties such as decoding unfamiliar words, understanding what is read, knowing the meaning of words, maintaining an efficient rate of reading, knowing writing directions, and others. And that's why we can implement a strategy like encourage a student to develop reasonable and logical points within the text at which the students will stop and check comprehension. Using these checkpoints, and the students may want to summarize what has just been read, perhaps into a type recorder, so that the summarize may be used as a review later. So the second case says, the strategy is to help students compensate for receptive language disability. So students with receptive language disability may have difficulty processing information presented orally, despite normal hearing. The students may have problems, and that's why we can implement a strategy like, whenever possible, provide the students with a brief written outline of the material to be covered in class session, and encourage students to check his or her understanding of what was assigned on the class before he or she leaves the class. So, and about the last case, or the third case, this says, the strategy is to help a student compensate for an expressive language disability. Well, a student with an expressive language disability may have difficulty expressing themselves clearly and precisely, using a variety of sentences structures, organizing thoughts, and using punctuation correctly, and others. Well, and maybe you're wondering what strategy we can implement for this case. Well, a strategy that we can implement could be writing assignments for ideas only, or provide 2 grades, one for content and one for technical skill, and maybe allow the student to use a word processor with a spelling checker. So this is the end of the video. I hope that this information and everything that I present in here, cases and the history, the principles, will be useful for these teachers that want to implement these strategies to help the students that have these learning disabilities. So I hope that you can implement these strategies